Close your eyes and visualize this scenario clearly, because I bet it hasn't happened just once, but has repeated itself throughout this past month. The clock strikes 5:30 p.m. on a Friday. You have just dragged yourself out of the office, finishing a stressful 45-hour work week. Your physical body is present in the driver's seat or crammed onto a train, but your mind is completely paralyzed, empty like a battery drained of power. You are driving home, and the mere idea of going into the kitchen to cook a hot meal sounds about as appealing and feasible as climbing Mount Everest right now. So, your finger swipes across your phone and opens the delivery app unconsciously. You order spicy Thai food, a cheesy pizza, or a greasy burger. The total damage for that meal is about $45. Then you get home. You shed your office clothes. You crack open a cold beer or quickly pour a glass of cheap wine to take the edge off. And then you sink deep into the couch, turning on the TV to binge a show you don't even really like, simply to turn your brain off. You whisper the sweetest lie to yourself. I earned this. I worked hard all week. But what if I told you that, mathematically speaking, the price you pay isn't just the $45 on your phone screen? What if I proved to you that the pizza, every drop of gas you burned inching your way home, the expensive shirt you have to wear, and even the extreme stress that forced you to order takeout, they are all hidden taxes? These invisible taxes are silently eroding your salary by nearly 70%. You still assume you are selling your precious time for $30 an hour, but after we perform a serious forensic audit of your life, the naked numbers will prove that you might be working yourself to the bone for a real rate of less than $4 an hour. My name is Ryan, and honestly, I spend way too much time obsessing over the invisible equations that govern our lives. Today, we are going to expose a massive accounting fraud. But wait, this isn't a financial crime committed by greedy corporations behind closed doors. This is a fraud you are unknowingly committing against yourself every single day, repeating it every time you accept a job offer based solely on the flashy number of the gross salary. Together, we are going to calculate your real hourly wage, the naked number behind the mask. And I have to warn you, once you see this number, you will never look at a price tag the same way again. This is the fundamental lie we have all been brainwashed with from the moment we graduated. We are told that our value is defined by our annual salary. If you make $65,000 a year, that is roughly $31 an hour. Sounds decent, it's respectable, theoretically enough to live. But in the business world, looking at revenue without looking at expenses is how companies go bankrupt. If a bakery sells $1 million worth of bread, but spends $1.1 million on flour and rent, then that bakery is worth zero. Yet when it comes to our own labor, we only look at the revenue, which is the salary. We completely ignore the cost of goods sold. And the commodity being sold here is you, your life, your energy, and the cost of selling yourself to an employer is astronomical. Let's perform a brutal audit of a hypothetical average worker. Let's call him James. James earns that respectable $31 an hour. But before that money even hits his account, the government takes its cut. Between federal tax, state tax, and FICA, that $31 is instantly shaved down to about $24. That is the easy math. We all know that. Now we have to pick up the knife and start trimming the fat. These are the expenses directly related to work. Remember this clearly. These are the sums James is forced to spend, just to exchange for the privilege of having a job. First is the commuting tax. The average American is burning thousands of dollars a year on gas, maintenance, and insurance. If James drives 30 minutes each way, that car is no longer an asset. It is a liability machine depreciating by the second. Let's put a conservative number on it. This cost eats up at least $4,000 a year. Next is the appearance tax. James can't just roll out of bed and walk into the office in his pajamas. He needs polite suits and money for dry cleaning. He needs to look professional to be respected. But the next one is the real killer, the convenience tax. Because James is held captive at the office from 9 to 5, he is forced to buy expensive lunches out at least twice a week. He swipes his card for a $5 coffee because he needs caffeine to survive the afternoon meeting. He has to pay a dog walker because he isn't home. Look straight at the truth. These are costs that would never exist if he didn't have that job. And finally, the darkest category, decompression spending. This is the money James throws out the window to numb the pain the job causes. It represents the Friday night binge drinking to forget a terrible week. It is the impulsive, expensive vacation he books in a rush. It is retail therapy, buying useless things just to feel in control. It is the money we spend to heal the psychological wounds caused by work. When you add up all these brutal costs, James isn't taking home $65,000 like he thinks. The real net income, the money that actually belongs to him, might be a meager $35,000. HR always smiles and tells you that. James works a standard 40 hours a week, but look me in the eye and admit it. That is a bald-faced lie. Let's join Ryan in dissecting James's day. The alarm clock screams at 6:30 a.m. James doesn't wake up early because he wants to watch the sunrise. He wakes up to shower, shave, and iron his shirt. That is 30 minutes of pure labor to prepare the work tool, which is himself, for the employer. Then he rushes out, spending 30 stressful minutes driving to work. That is unpaid labor. Then comes lunch hour. He has 1 hour. Theoretically, it is off-the-clock time. But in reality, he can't go home. He can't take a nap in his own bed. He is held captive within the radius of the office building, hastily eating a sandwich and still ready if the boss calls. He is a prisoner of work even while chewing his food. Evening falls, another 30 minutes wrestling with traffic to get home. And when the door closes, the nightmare isn't over. He spends the next 30 minutes decompressing, a fancy word for staring blankly at a white wall, venting his frustration to his wife about his difficult boss, or sneaking a look at work emails on his phone for fear of missing something. All of this is called shadow work. It is time and mental energy that belongs to work, stolen by work, but work never pays you a dime for it. If you add it all up, grooming time, commuting time, the captive lunch hour, James isn't working 40 hours a week. He is sacrificing 55 to 60 hours of his life every week to the company. And now pick up the calculator and do the real math, the math that will make you shudder. We take the eroded net income of $35,000 and divide it by the inflated true working hours of nearly 3,000 hours a year. What is the result? The flashy $31 an hour evaporates like smoke. Suddenly, the number on the screen is only $11 an hour, or even worse, $8 an hour. In some situations, purely mathematically, James is making less money than the teenager flipping burgers at a fast food joint. Why? Because that teenager walks to work, wears the shop's uniform, and most importantly, when he takes off his apron, he leaves all the stress at the fryer. He doesn't bring shadow work home. This is the work scam. You have been tricked into a terrible business model, a model with high turnover, extremely low margins, where you are the product and you are selling yourself at a loss every day. I know hearing this, a heavy feeling might be pressing on your chest. You might be telling yourself, "Great, Ryan. Not only am I broke, but now I realize my job is a losing business deal." But please listen to me. The reason we are sitting here dissecting this brutal math is not to drown you in depression. My goal is to make you angry. And more importantly than anger, I want you to become aware and efficient. Once you have seen the naked number, your real hourly wage, your entire worldview on consumerism will flip completely. Let's assume after deducting all hidden costs and adding invisible work hours, you calculate your real wage is $10 an hour. Now imagine you walk into a fancy shopping mall. Your eyes land on a brand new pair of designer shoes, and the price tag says $100. Before, you would swipe your card immediately, but now your brain needs to perform a translation job immediately. That number is not $100. That is 10 hours of your life. Think carefully. That is 10 hours you have to sit stuck in traffic filled with smog. That is 10 hours of enduring passive-aggressive emails from coworkers. That is 10 hours of missing family dinners and missing your children's laughter. Ask yourself, is that pair of shiny shoes worth trading for 10 hours of miserable suffering? Suddenly, the answer appears clear as day. No. This cold math also exposes another subtle trap we call the golden handcuffs, the promotion. We often crave new titles, Promotions that promise more money, but watch out. They often come with costs that increase exponentially. Suppose your boss calls you in and offers a promotion to manager with a $10,000 raise. Awesome, right? You throw a party. But the reality? Now, as a manager, you have to stay late at the office every night to handle crises. So you are forced to order expensive takeout for dinner instead of cooking. You have to upgrade your wardrobe with fancier suits to fit the role. You need to buy a second car because you can't carpool or take the train due to irregular hours. And when the cortisol levels in your blood skyrocket, you book a more expensive five-star resort vacation just to find some fake peace. If you calculate carefully, you might be shocked to realize that your real hourly wage has decreased after getting promoted. You are playing the role of a money conduit. You handle more cash flowing through your account, but less money stays in your pocket. And there is one more hidden thief here, a terrifying robber named opportunity cost. When you throw money at job maintenance costs, gas, convenience meals, to-go coffees, you are robbing yourself of the power of compound interest in the future. Take the example of the $5 coffee every morning you buy just because you are too tired to brew at home. $5 a day sounds small, but if you invest that money at an average 7% interest for 30 years, it turns into nearly $200,000. You aren't just drinking a bitter cup of coffee, you are drinking away your retirement fund. You are drinking away your own freedom in every small sip. This economic system is designed on you always being in a state of exhaustion, so you never have enough clarity to do these math problems. They want you to delude yourself that I make good money, so you keep signing leases for luxury apartments, keep financing shiny cars. They need to keep you stuck forever in the vicious cycle, needing the job to pay for the flashy things you bought just to be able to tolerate the job itself. So the million-dollar question here is, where is the escape? How do we break this slavery equation without winning the lottery? I'm not going to sit here and give cliche advice to quit your job tomorrow morning, sell all your assets, and live in the woods like a hermit. We have to be realistic. We live in the real world with real bills and hungry bellies that need filling. The solution is not running away. It is ruthlessly optimizing your real hourly wage. From this moment, forget the annual salary. Make real hourly wage the sole metric for your success. Not income, but efficiency. Try thinking like a strategist. Can you negotiate with your boss to work from home just 2 days a week? If successful, you save 2 hours of exhausting commute and $10 in gas every week. You just gave yourself a huge raise that the company doesn't have to pay a dime for. That is net profit. Can you spend 2 hours on Sunday prepping meals for the whole week? That simple act will cut your cost of goods sold in half compared to eating out. Can you move closer to work to walk? Can you stop caring about judgment and wear simpler, more durable clothes? Remember, every dollar of work expense you cut is a dollar of pure freedom flowing back into your pocket. But the biggest, most powerful shift must happen in your mind. You must start running your life like a CEO. A smart business owner is never just obsessed with increasing revenue. They are obsessed with increasing margin. Your life is that business. And your margin is the time and money left over for you to actually be a human, not a machine. Look at these two pictures. If you make $100,000 a year, sounds fancy, but you spend $95,000 in operating costs and grind 80 hours a week to generate it, then I'm sorry, you are a business on the verge of bankruptcy. You are like Enron before the collapse. Flashy on the outside, but hollow on the inside. Conversely, if you only make $50,000 a year, but you only spend $20,000 and work a relaxed 30 hours a week, you are a business with super profits, extremely solid and prosperous. You are winning the game. This is the moment where painful realization needs to turn into positive action. I want to give you a homework assignment, a mandatory mission. Sit down this weekend, but don't do it on Friday night when your brain is dead. Do it on Sunday morning over a cup of tea when your mind is sharpest. Run the numbers. Be ruthless with yourself. Calculate every penny of commuting cost. Estimate taxes. Be brutally honest about the decompression spending you've been hiding. Then divide net income by the total actual hours you spend on work. When the final number appears, write it big on a yellow sticky note and stick it directly onto your credit card. My real wage is $8.50 an hour. Next time, when you stand in front of a useless piece of plastic or on sale clothes, look at that number. Ask yourself, am I willing to cut off 4 hours, 10 hours, or 20 hours of my life to trade for this junk? That psychological friction will save your wallet more effectively than any finance app on earth. We are living in a strange era, where time is becoming the ultimate currency, more precious than gold. The rich use money to buy time. The poor sell time cheaply to earn pennies. Don't sell your time cheaply anymore. Audit your life today. Cut off the blood-sucking costs clinging to your job and start building a widening gap between income and expenses. Because it is in that gap that your freedom resides. If this video by Ryan made you pause and reflect on your paycheck, please share it with a colleague, someone who looks tired and burnt out. We are all stuck in this same trap, but if we use math and awareness, we can find the tunnel to the light together. Thank you for spending your valuable time watching, and see you on the next journey to freedom.